If you suddenly found yourself with extra money every single month, would you use it to invest and grow your wealth? Or would you use it to pay down your loan as fast as possible? It sounds like an easy question, but it is one of the biggest dilemmas people face in their financial lives. When you sit quietly and think about it, you probably feel that same uncertainty many others feel. Because choosing wrong might mean losing years of progress, while choosing correctly might completely shift your financial future. And today we will go through a clear and simple way to finally understand this choice, a method that anyone at any level can use. It is called the F2 rule, and by the end of this video, you will know exactly how to apply it to your life. But to get there, you need to know how loans really work, because once you know, the logic becomes obvious. So leave a like and let's start. Imagine this situation. You bought a home, or perhaps took out another kind of long-term loan, and you are settling into your payment routine. Maybe the loan is $200,000, maybe $300,000, or maybe $500,000. It does not matter because the core mechanics are the same. Every month you make your required payment, and every month you can see a lot of your money disappearing into something that does not feel like it benefits you. You see a large piece going to interest, and only a tiny portion actually shrinking your debt. Then, sometime later, your income increases. Maybe from a raise, maybe from a side job, maybe because an expense disappeared and freed up room in your budget. Now you have an additional amount available every single month. Maybe it is 500, or 1,000, or even more. And standing right in front of you is the big question. Should this money go into investments, where it could grow for decades, or should it go toward your loan, reducing your debt faster than the schedule requires? Imagine a 30-year loan of $500,000 at 7% interest, a rate close to what many borrowers have experienced in recent years. The monthly payment, just principal and interest, is around $3,327. This is the core of your obligation. You cannot skip it, you cannot reduce it, and you cannot ignore it. But now imagine that you receive an extra $1,000 every month. The moment that money appears, your decision begins. Should this extra amount be invested, or should it go into your loan? To see the impact of each choice, picture two different paths. On the first path, you decide to invest. You take that $1,000 and place it into a simple, low-cost index fund every month. You assume a long-term return of 9% per year, which is slightly more conservative than the historical return of major stock indexes. And you increase your monthly contributions by 3% each year to match salary increases and inflation. Then you run this path for 29 years, which is the remaining life of the loan, since you start after the first year. The result is astonishing. By the end of those 29 years, your investment grows to around $1,834,000. This is the power of compound growth. $1,000 today, $1,000 next month, $1,000 the month after that, building layer on layer, year after year, until the growth itself becomes larger than your contribution. At first, this investment path appears unbeatable. It looks so strong, so clean, so obvious. But the alternative path, the path of prepaying your loan, has a few surprises of its own. Before we examine it, you must understand something most borrowers never truly examine. It is the structure of amortization. When you make payments on a loan, especially early in the loan's lifetime, the majority of your monthly payment does not shrink your balance. It goes to interest. To see it clearly, imagine your $500,000 loan broken into 10 identical blocks of $50,000 each. During your first year of payments, you send the bank $39,000. With that amount, you would think one of the blocks disappears entirely, but that is not what happens. Instead, your balance drops by only $4,000. $35,000 goes directly to interest. So even though you have paid thousands, the actual debt barely moves. Look at how this plays out month by month. In your first month, almost $3,000 of your payment goes to interest, and only a few hundred go to principal. Even after 5 years, the division is still heavily skewed toward interest. It takes more than 20 years for your principal portion to finally become larger than the interest portion. In other words, for most of the loan you are working primarily for the lender, not for yourself. When you see this clearly, you start realizing why many people consider prepayments. Because unlike your regular payment, where most of the money disappears into interest, a prepayment goes entirely toward principal. 100%. Every dollar reduces your debt. and every dollar that reduces your debt also reduces the interest you will pay in the future. This is why prepayment can dramatically change your schedule. Now return to the example path. You take that extra $1,000 and begin pushing it toward the loan starting in month 13, increasing the contribution by 3% annually. That change alone shortens the 30-year loan into a 16-year and 3-month payoff timeline. 14 years vanish. That is more than a decade of payments gone. And the total interest drops from nearly $700,000 to around $318,000. You save about $380,000 in interest alone. That sounds enormous. And it is, but there is more depth to the story. Because to earn that interest reduction, you also spent around $238,000 in extra payments over 195 months. After subtracting those extra contributions, your net financial gain is around $142,000 compared to doing nothing. It is good, but it is not close to the $1.8 million the investment path created. At this point, many people think the answer must be to always invest because the numbers look so much larger. But here is where the analysis becomes more interesting. Once you pay off the loan early, your monthly required payment disappears. And disappearing means you suddenly get access to the entire amount that used to go to the lender. In our example, this means $3,327 plus the $1,000 in extra payments becomes available to you every single month. Instead of going to debt, it can now all be invested. And when you invest $4,327 per month for the 13.75 remaining years, the results build quickly. At 9% annual returns, this produces approximately $1,186,000. Add the $142,000 from interest savings, and the total becomes around $1,328,000. Compare that to the pure investment strategy, and the investment-first strategy still wins by about $56,000. The difference is meaningful, but it is not enormous when compared to the scale of these choices. But understanding the difference requires one more concept that is essential for anyone deciding between investing and debt reduction. It is called sequence of returns risk. This risk describes the fact that investment returns do not come smoothly. Some years are strong, some years are terrible, and the specific order in which these good and bad years appear matters greatly. If your investing journey begins right before a major downturn, your early years can underperform for a long time. If your investing journey begins right before a major upswing, your early years can deliver extraordinary growth, but you do not control the timing of these cycles. And because of that, relying heavily on large early investments exposes you to uncertainty. Loan prepayment does not carry this risk. Every dollar pays down the loan at a guaranteed rate equal to the interest rate you would have paid. A 7% loan produces a guaranteed 7% return on every prepaid dollar. No volatility, no sequence risk, no uncertainty. Now layer taxes on top. When your investments grow, selling them eventually triggers taxes. That takes away a part of your gain. But when you reduce interest payments on a loan through prepayment, that savings is not taxed. You keep it entirely. So once you consider risk and taxes, prepayment becomes more attractive than raw numbers first suggested. But what if there were a simple framework for combining both strategies in a balanced way? That is where the F2 rule comes in. The name stands for the Freedom Fund Rule, a method that blends the mathematical side of finance with something equally important: your comfort and stability. Instead of forcing you to choose one extreme, the rule invites you to split your extra money between investing and repayment. The exact proportions depend on your situation. For example, some choose 60% investing and 40% repayment, allowing strong long-term growth while still reducing debt meaningfully. Others choose an even 50-50 split. Younger individuals might choose 70% investing and 30% repayment, while those nearing retirement might choose the opposite. A particularly helpful version of the rule uses the loan's interest rate as the guiding factor. If your interest rate is above 8%, your prepayments deliver such strong guaranteed returns that they should usually be a priority. If the rate is below 4%, investing usually makes more sense because the potential market returns outweigh the small guaranteed payoff. If your rate is between 4 and 8%, which is common today, a blended strategy often provides the best balance of growth and stability. Consider the example rewritten into a blended strategy. You take the extra $1,000 and divide it equally. $500 goes into investments each month, increasing annually by 3%, and $500 goes toward loan prepayment. With this approach, the loan ends around the 21st year instead of the 30th. You save about $198,000 in interest, after accounting for the $119,000 spent in extra payments. So your net savings is roughly $79,000. Meanwhile, the investing portion grows to around $842,000 over 29 years. And once the loan is gone, you can add the freed mortgage payment to your investing amount, resulting in an additional $462,000 over the remaining years. Combine all of it, and the total becomes approximately $1,383,000. It is less than the pure investing strategy, but comes with the meaningful psychological benefit of living loan-free years earlier. This brings us to the human side of the decision, the side too often ignored in financial discussions. Loans are not just mathematical entities. They influence the way you think, the way you sleep, and the way you feel about your future. Some people feel weighed down by debt. No matter the interest rate, they feel pressure, stress, or uncertainty, and the only thing that gives them peace is removing the obligation. For these individuals, paying off the loan early is not only a financial decision, but an emotional one. Other people feel the opposite. They dislike locking money into a house or loan because that money becomes inaccessible. They value liquidity, flexibility, and the freedom to use cash if circumstances change. For them, investing's more comfortable because it offers options. There are also clear cases where paying off debt should take priority. High-interest debt above 10%, such as credit cards or certain personal loans, should almost always be paid off before investing. You simply cannot rely on consistently beating 15 or 20% returns in the market. Similarly, if retirement is approaching, lowering fixed expenses can dramatically improve your quality of life. And if your job feels uncertain, lowering required payments can be more valuable than building investments. On the other hand, there are clear cases where investing should take priority. If you refinance during a period of low rates and have a loan around 3%, your money works far harder in the market. If you do not have an emergency fund, that must come before prepayments. And if you are not taking advantage of employer retirement contributions, that is free money you should not leave behind. Younger individuals have more time for compounding, and starting early makes an enormous difference. The true purpose of the F2 rule is not to force a specific answer, but to give you a structure for thinking. The goal is freedom, not perfection. It encourages you to design a balance that reflects your values and your mathematical reality. The right choice is the one that aligns with your goals, your risk tolerance, and your vision for your life. So the question of whether you should invest or pay off your loan does not have a universal answer. It has your answer, and the F2 rule gives you a simple path to find that answer without confusion. It lets you use numbers and personal values together, instead of choosing between them. If you understand what financial freedom means to you, the decision becomes far clearer. And once you choose your balance, whether investing more, paying down more, or splitting the difference, you can move forward confidently, knowing your choice was intentional and informed. Oh, anyway, I opened a new completely free community where I explain how to create and scale your YouTube channel. After an experience with over 10 successful channels, there I will give you all my strategies and tips to monetize and scale your faceless YouTube channel, and I will help you step by step. Since YouTube is the golden opportunity of 2026 if done well, I'm waiting for you. Just a reminder, I'm not a financial advisor. This video is for educational purposes only, and any results depend on your own decisions and actions.